Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, Classics as Non-Classic. This is episode number 874 and Doubleshot number 768. I have one Marvel trade and one DC trade. First up, it is Raccoon and Groot Complete Collection. Now, when you think Complete Collection, you think a book probably a lot thicker than this. You know what I want what's in here? Incredible Hulk 271, Raccoon Volume 1, Issues 1 through 4. Material from Tales of Astonish, number 13. Marvel Preview, number 7. Annihilators 1 through 4. And Annihilators Earthfall 1 through 4. Now, this book basically, now, in case you're curious still, what is Tales of Astonish 13? That is actually the first appearance of Groot. And he looks a heck of a lot different than he does nowadays. If you're curious though, what the heck does Groot look like in his debut appearance? He looks like this. Yes, this is seriously Groot. Yep. Simply put, the issue was a horror story. Because the 50s were popular with horror stories, so yeah. Though there's been a few different retcons involving this character. One that this character didn't pop up until the 2000s. Though he did pop up occasionally over the years, mostly in cameos. But he wasn't like full force until like Annihilation. Excuse me, yeah. Basically just has him just as a the actual official issue is a Monster on the Loose story. And apparently he dies at the end, though they retcon he didn't die at all. Now in the case of these other stuff, Marvel Preview number 7. Apparently, this is supposed to be the first appearance of Raccoon. Somehow. And here's the thing. I'm looking at this thing. The thing is published in black and white, like traditional book is traditionally published. I'm looking at this. I did not see Raccoon pop up in here at all. I mean, there's no raccoon at all. And this apparently is supposed to be Raccoon's first appearance. Okay. Here he is. Apparently. Yeah, this apparently is the first appearance of Raccoon in this very panel. Yep. And of course his next appearance will be Incredible Hulk number 271. Fantastic issue done by Bill Mantlo, and I believe it was Keith Giffen did the issue. Let me take a look and see. I know that Keith Giffen didn't do the initial issue itself. This one was done by... This is something I don't like about the Marvel Preview stuff, is that they don't list off damn creators. I have no idea why in the world. Like, if you read any Marvel Preview issues, they do not list off the people who did the issue itself, which I think is a little weird. But yeah. And of course we have the Incredible Hulk 271 issue, which pretty much all that book is just the Hulk having teamed up with Raccoon for his 20th anniversary, and then simply put the book being sort of a backdoor pilot to the Raccoon Limited series published in 1980. I think it was 1986, I think it was. Let's see. Yeah, it was 1985. Yep. And then of course after that we had him pop up in pages. Well, he did pop up occasionally. Popped up in I look up appearing in Quasar, appearing in a few issues of She-Hulk. And then he didn't appear again to Annihilation. The Annihilators, and I should point out though, the Annihilators backup story, yeah. The thing with the Annihilators miniseries, I actually recently read it about a couple years ago. Yeah, here's the thing about Annihilators, the first Annihilators miniseries. They're 40-page comic books. Why? Because Annihilators appear in the first story. The second story is a Raccoon story. What is the story? Well, here's what happens. Rocket, apparently after the disbandment of the Guardians, decided to take up an office job, working in the mailroom. Eventually he quits, and decides to go searching for Groot. Finds him, and goes on an adventure, and runs into the characters from the miniseries. Also, the character Black Jack O'Hare, who actually was the main villain of the first arc of the Raccoon ongoing series in 2014. Yeah, the Raccoon miniseries is the character's first appearance. So, Scott Young turned a character who was essentially put a supporting character created by Bill Mantlo into a villain. As for why in the world this was, no idea. Now, I'm sure some people probably read that issue when there was revealed to be this character, Black Chick O'Hare, like, who the heck is this guy? Well, you gotta get your hands on this, which contains the original miniseries, Raccoon, which shows up this character's first appearance. I should point out, though, how did Rocket look in the 80s? He looked a heck of a lot different. Yeah, because if you read this issue 271, it's simply put a backdoor pilot to the Raccoon series. Oh, and what did he look like in this issue? He looked like this. Yeah, and the way he talked in here, it's completely different. And this is written by Bill Mansell, one of his creators. And he doesn't act anything like the way he's picked nowadays, where he took like a lovable jerk like he normally is. And of course, by the time of his miniseries, he sized up this outfit. Also, Rocket had a girlfriend. Who was his girlfriend? A walrus. Yes, Rocket's girlfriend was a female walrus. And here's the thing. She was actually the niece. She's a niece of an old friend of his. Yeah. And apparently he acted like the chief of police for the Keystone, for the, I think it's like the, I'm trying to think, what was it? I think it was like the Keystone, yeah, I think it was like the Key Gem Galaxy. Yeah. And by the end of the Incredible Hulk issue, they sent Hulk back home because he had been sent there. Various stuff happening in the book anyways. And then eventually, in Raccoon's own stuff, a miniseries, he eventually left his own galaxy with his supporting cast. And here's something really weird, though. The guy never returned to his home galaxy. At all. Nope. He never did. Now, what about the Annihilator's Earthfall backup feature? It's a 5-page... My guess is that... Yeah, it's 5 pages long. My guess is because... Well, even though the first miniseries was really financially successful, some people probably launched a complaint that the books were too long. So, people did like the Raccoon backup story, but it was too long of an issue. Maybe, I think the books did cost $3.99 at that point, because nowadays, if there's a double set issue, it costs $5. That's Smallville Comics for you. Or even $6, like some books tend to be, for some stupid reason. Or $10. Thank you, Ms. Experiment, for doing that twice. Once, I believe it was in 2017, and then once again in 2018. No idea why, just the fact that it was. Yeah. And I'm hoping Marvel learns this lesson. Stop charging $10 for a freaking comic book. Yep. So, the 5-page story is known as Batteries Not Included, which is simply Raccoon and Groot taking on Mojo. Yes, the X-Men villain Mojo in Mojo World. It's an odd follow-up to the original backup story, but at least it's interesting. Yeah. But these are great stories. I'm going to give this book a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. Oh, and in case you're wondering, Rocky himself does put on his Guardians outfit from Dan Abnett and Link series in the backup feature, because my guess is Dan Abnett must have really loved this character so much so that he basically made him his own star. Though, my guess is also, this probably also prompted Marvel, because of the success of both his backup feature from Annihilators and Annihilators Earthfall, that probably caused Marvel to think, well, we have this film coming out the following year, so we have this film coming out in 2014, because we're probably like, maybe we should give Raccoon's ongoing series. And they did, even though it got canceled 11 issues. Yep. He did get 2 more a few years, at least about 2 years later. Yeah, he got one again in late 2016, early 2017. And actually, 26. He had 2 series in 2017. He had the Raccoon. He had another one done by Chip Zdarsky. Actually, it was Matthew Rosler did that one, and the other one was done by Al Ewing. It was simply just called Rocket, which was basically Raccoon acting like James Bond. Fun comic book. Too bad that book got canceled to 6 issues. All right. Next up, it is Smallville, Volume 5, Olympus. Yes, this is the arc. This is the introduction to Wonder Woman. And yes, this is her outfit from the very storyline. Plus, of course, not only here's the thing about this particular storyline. This is the Smallville debut of not only Wonder Woman, but also Steve Trevor, Queen Hippolyta, the D.E.O. Yes, D.E.O. exists in the Smallville universe. Director Bones, who gets killed off in this storyline. Felix Faust and Hades. Yes, they all make their debut in this very storyline. Yep. And at the end of this, this is also an introduction to Cameron Chase. Because it's a D.E.O. And Cameron Chase is very heavily associated with D.E.O. So why not have her make her debut in here? Also, apparently, according to this backstory for how Wonder Woman first met Steve Trevor, now almost every single time that they have met when Steve Trevor was pretty much a guy in his 20s. Not a little boy like expected in here. And apparently, Queen Hippolyta left Themyscira, kind of acted like Wonder Woman when she was younger, and then eventually, of course, Diana left Themyscira and, of course, became her pretty much a role she served in a lot of forms of fiction when it comes to her, where she served as the emissary piece for Themyscira. And, of course, they also set up a hub for her in DC, like they did in Detective Arc with Batman Gotham City, which makes perfect sense to do. And also, Bones himself, despite making his debut in the storyline, he gets killed off by Felix Faust, who's a teenager in this version. Which is kind of weird because almost every version I've seen of Felix Faust, he's an old man. Yeah, it's weird when it comes to Felix Faust. Yeah, but this fantastic storyline. Yep. And I really do appreciate, this is actually from Wonder Woman's first appearance. Yeah, for some reason, on the cover they have, Superman look like the way he does in the Smallville TV show, looking like Tom Welling. But in the comic, he looks like he's normally drawn in comics. I don't know why this is. It's particularly very bizarre. Yep. And here's the thing. Brian Q. Miller does do the writing. He does writing for pretty much the entire series. The artwork is done by Jorge Jimenez. Excuse me. The cover right here, that's done by Cat Staggs, who's by a fantastic artist, by the way. And these two, and then she did team up, I think it was with Gail Small and Crosswind. Yeah, here's Jorge Jimenez's artwork. Yeah, it's really, really good. I thoroughly enjoyed this. Yeah, great, fantastic storyline. And it's a good thing Wonder Woman does come back after this for like one arc. I think she comes back. I know she came back for Lantern. But of course, the next arc that came after this was Alien, the Alien miniseries. That came next. Though, I should also point out, though, for some strange reason, when DC was publishing this, they decided to apparently end the Smallville Season 11 ongoing printed comic book and relaunch this as a series, a miniseries. As for why in the world DC did this for, I have no idea. Honestly, I really don't. This series didn't last very long, though. No, it only lasted for a few years before they ended it. I think there's still a few more trades left, but yeah, I'm going to give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. It's really good. Plus, I even like the way Superman defeats Hades. He defeats Hades by picking him up, like with a bear hug, and dragging him to frickin' space. Yeah, and basically cut off his own oxygen supply. And then what does he do after that? He throws him right back down to Earth, makes a big hole in the ground, and throws him back in Tartarus, and throws Felix Faust, for good measure, back in there as well, for some reason. Yeah, it's very heavily implied that Wonder Woman just joined the team, which is basically this world's version of the Justice League. Yeah, that's something that's quite weird about Smallville. They apparently just could not use the name Justice League for some reason. Yeah, I don't understand why. It's the freaking Justice League. You're made up of pretty much Martian Manhunter, Batman, Green Arrow, Cyborg, Impulse, even though he never joined Justice League in the regular comic books. And yeah, Batman and Wonder Woman just recently joined. And you can't call it the Justice League? Yeah, I've never understood why in the world they could never call this team the Justice League. You have Watchtower. You have pretty much most of the members. Though Aquaman apparently is not featured in this continuity anymore. Yeah, that's something that's quite weird about Aquaman. Yeah, Aquaman is in the universe of Smallville. But for some reason, as far as I remember, he has never appeared in this comic book. No, he never has. He's not the only one who's never appeared. Oh yeah, also Booster Gold joined this team as well. Yeah, they also did have Blue Beetle, the Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle pop up in here. But he never joined Justice League. He joined the Titans, which technically is world's version of the Teen Titans. Except they act like this world's version of the X-Men because they're mentored by an old man. Who is this old man? Jay Garrick. Which does beg the question, where the heck is Barry Allen in this world? Yeah, that's something that Smallville, by the time this comic ended a few years ago, I think it was back in 2014, 2015, when this comic ended, we never found out if Barry Allen exists in this world. We have Bart Allen, but no mention of Barry Allen at all. It's particularly very weird. Now, here's also something quite interesting though. When they had Cyborg become part of the roster, he was technically part of the roster in the comics. He isn't part of the Justice League throughout the 2000s. That's completely true. So, the lamp that Green Arrow assembled in the TV show, that technically was people who were members of the Justice League in the comics, except for Impulse. Now, as for why the show decided to use Impulse instead of, I don't know, Barry Allen, never explained. I know Supergirl exists in here, but apparently she's in the future for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, it's particularly very weird. I mean, Smallville had its problems, but at least that when it came to doing good versions of superheroes, they actually did a pretty good job of it. I mean, I did like the show's version of, let's see, what's a good character they did a good job with? Lex, they did a fantastic job with him because that version of Lex is actually very beloved, and Michael Rosenbaum, the actor who played him, he does want to come back to play the character. He loved playing the character so much, so even though the character was kind of killed off at the end of season 7, yeah, even though he came back at the end of the show for some reason. Yeah, I'm trying to think though, what other character did really well? Well, they did Black Canary okay, except for some reason, and this apparently, I think it's the CW's fault. Apparently, for some reason, we can never have Green Arrow hook up with Black Canary. Even though they do, in fact, do that in the comics. Apparently on the CW, they apparently have this stupid rule in place where Green Arrow cannot hook up with his damn love interest. In this show, he hooked up with Chloe Sullivan because she was a breakout character for the show. That's not a joke. That's seriously true. They got married, and currently at this point, she is freaking pregnant. She doesn't give birth to her child until the last issue of the last miniseries for Smallville ever released. I kind of wish this comic is still being published because I think there's still more stuff to tell when it comes to freaking Smallville. Yep. Aside from that, that's really it for this particular review. As in the case of any more reviews planned for today, no, not currently. I know I have to be planned for tomorrow, but no more today. Okay? But until I see you next review, bye.